6 o'clock, we'll call the November 30th Property Management Committee to order. Commissioner Coggin, would you lead a prayer, please?
Sure. Our most gracious Heavenly Father, we humbly approach your throne this evening, God, thanking you for this day. Father, we pray that we have lived lives that have been holy and pleasing in your sight. Please bless us tonight and be with us. And it's in your Son's name we pray. Amen.
Commissioner Cook.
Stand, let's have a pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We need to approve the minutes for the October.
Mr. Chairman, I move that they be approved as mailed.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the minutes. Are there any corrections, additions, deletions? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? First on the agenda, we have an update of the new clerk's building. Mr. Mayor?
Let me just come on up here because I've got issues on 2 or 3 of these others. Some of you may have been having it since I have. I mean, I haven't been having it in 2 or 3 weeks, but so you might report on. I know through October they're 50% drawn down on their money. So last time I was there, they were putting their roof on, but I suppose they're finished with that, aren't they?
Yes, sir. I was out there about 4:30, and they've started the interior. And I said the framework for the windows up also.
So they're moving along, I think, nicely. We still, hopefully, 3 more months. We're supposed to be out of the other building, but we'll just have to see how that goes. I have had some discussion with Ms. Lynch regarding the flow of traffic and some paving for some additional parking spaces. We've been able to determine that we can put 6 more spaces in there, and that's about the extent of it. If you look at the building, you think, well, we could just ring the building, but on the west and north side of that building, there is a retention area there that has been put in to hold some water. So really, we have to maintain a retention place there, and so that's not a place we could put some more parking spaces, but that will give us 45 parking spaces, and I think we've got maybe 17 spaces where we are. So we do have a substantial increase, and she's concerned about it, and so but that's all we've been able to right now. We might can find a couple more that we could squeeze in there, but that's about the extent of it. And as far as the flow of the traffic through the drive-through window, that's her concern, and I've got a little drawing that has been made that would basically, to get into that drive-through window, there's only going to be one way to do it. You're going to have to go down to 9th Street and come from 9th Street down I Street, north to south, and that's the only way you'll be able to go through the drive-through. You won't be able to come through the parking lot and get to the drive-through. That would just be a traffic mess. And so we're proposing to, we're going to put a 6-inch curb that will direct the traffic from I Street back in there where you can't cross from the parking lot or from Weekly Lane from the southern porch in there. And we will need to put up probably about 3 signs that will direct the people to the county clerk drive-through window. You go down here, you turn left, and then you turn back. So we needed to address those things. So I think we've done a pretty good job addressing that. So we're going to do that. There'll be a change order on a little bit more money on the parking plus on that curb, but we need to do it.
When you turn off of First into the buildings drive-through, there's only going to be a right-hand turn.
Yes, sir.
There's no left-hand turn coming from, say, Betterville.
Correct. We'll have that curb, which would make it evident you can't get that. And of course, we'll stripe there too properly.
Right. So if they're going down Weekly Road towards the lake, they'll turn left on the street,
on Ninth Street.
on 9th Street, which is a street after the emissions.
Right, and we'll have a sign back at the Arnold Drive or whatever that street name is right there that says, with a straight arrow, it says next left is where you go to the drive-through.
And then they'll take a left off of 9th onto 1st.
Correct.
And then a right into the complex. There's a lot of room. You can queue a lot of cars down
We
that
can queue
First
up more than
Avenue.
100, in excess of 100 cars there
Right.
if we needed to. There's a lot of room in, so there won't be any queuing back out on Weekly Lane for sure.
Say that is scheduled to be completed like March 1st.
March 1st is yes, sir.
Does it look like it's on that schedule?
I think so. Of course, we're in the winter weather then. Of course, they're inside the building, but our site work, our paving and whatever could be problematic. We'll have to have some good days to get that base down and everything.
Have to have some good days for the bricklayers also.
Yeah.
They haven't started that
No.
yet.
That'll go pretty fast.
Right.
That's all I have on that.
Anyone have any questions on our clerk's building? Okay, move right along to the request proposal for surplus auction, surplus land auction. I put that on there because in the past we did a contract and we put out a request for proposal. And that's the way we handled it in the past, but that was only for a year, and that's expired. In fact, it's been quite a while since that expired. So I didn't know if the committee will do whatever the committee wants to do. We can either go ahead and put it out now, whatever the committee and the mayor thinks, or we can wait until we actually have some property. The reason I put it on here, I thought maybe you might want to go ahead and put that out and get somebody on board. That way, when we did decide we had a piece of property, we wouldn't have to wait. We'd just turn it over to whoever we had picked. But that was just my thought. We don't have to do that.
We will want to do that. Let me tell you what pieces of property we have right now that quote what I think is surplus. We have these two pieces of property that just been gifted over to us just recently. One on Coleman Hill Road, one up on Claude Jones Road. Now, plus we have our old jail site here in Murfreesboro. And the only other piece of property we have is the piece of property out there at Rockvale, Highway 99, that we have been given some consideration. In all probability, we want to keep that piece to use in some sort of way with our convenience center and our fire department that's out there. So we really only got three pieces. And I don't see any other properties being deemed surplus right now. The school board at some point in the future will possibly have some surplus property out at Rockvale. Even if they had declared that surplus, I don't believe we ought to put it on the market right now. I think we ought to wait. So I don't think there's going to be any real strong opportunity, and I'm not sure what you want to do about the jail property down the street here. Again, it's not an opportune time for people to really want a piece of property at this point. So in any event, I sort of would suggest that maybe we wait till maybe March in that time frame. That would be still give us plenty of time, you know, to actually get a proposal, and then that would give us a full year from that point forward to really do something, and we wouldn't use up 3 or 4 of our 1 year and not do anything. Here's the other little bit of struggle we have. The last time we did that, we had some really good pieces of property that had some real value to them, and that we got some good proposals, and they charged us a very nominal amount because they knew that we had about 3 pieces of property that would bring maybe as much as $400,000, one of them in particular. So that 1% of $400,000 is $4,000. So that, you know, that was what our agreement was. So this year we don't have any property worth any real money except what this jail piece of property might bring down here. So we're not going to be, people are not going to be quite as interested in giving us the same kind of deal. So I don't really think we should expect the same kind of deal again, but they might still do it just as a matter of service. And these two pieces of property that have been gifted over to us, it's going to be difficult for them to bring the appraised value. Let's just say that in a very kind way. That the property assessor had on the value he had placed on it. So that's my little take. I mean, we can do what you want to. It won't take but a couple of weeks to get, or maybe a month at most, to get that done when you want to do it.
The two properties that we had given to us, Coleman Hill Road and Claude Jones, have they been put in the county's name yet? I know last month they have not.
I'm not sure we got the deeds back
We've
yet.
sent the deeds off. They prepared the deeds and they've been sent to the owners for their signature. And I don't, if Becky hadn't seen them back, they're not back.
Now, the woman up north was questioning. She thought she needed an independent appraisal for IRS purposes. She wasn't sure she could accept the tax appraisal, and that's the last I heard on that.
No, I hadn't even heard that. So, well,
I feel she'd be better off to take the
I
appraisal
think she
she
better
had.
take the tax appraisal. I think she should be well advised, and I'll advise her counselor if he asks me to. Her cousin lives here.
Well, that's who she was going to call.
Right. And I haven't heard them yet.
That sounds like a good proposal to me.
What could we use the old jail for?
Well, it's less than a half acre. It's only a few tenths of an acre there. I don't know what we'd want to do with it. It may be that someone else would have a better intended use for it than we would. I mean, that's what you have to decide. Do we have any intended use? And I don't know what the future might hold there. I mean, it would be a small office building of some sort for somebody, unless you could couple
It's
the other
prime
lot there
property.
with it maybe.
Isn't it prime property?
But it's small. It's small, so you can't put anything of any real size there unless you couple up that lot behind it. And it's going to have to be raised. That lot is in the floodplain of that creek there.
Well, I thought the mayor had a good proposal.
So I'd say just suggest that we put in there that no later than March, you put it back on the agenda for us to revisit the discussion.
Is everyone all right with that?
Okay.
Mayor, I got a suggestion of that property down there about the jail. Times on the county side, that automobile agency down there, that I don't see that being there permanently in the long run for the city or county. It may be at some point some people come in there and they want that whole area, and we would eventually get a good piece of cash out of that. So I would think that if we held on to that we might check with the horticultural groups out at the high schools or with the garden clubs in the city and see if at their expense they would want to come down and make that a more attractive looking piece of property down there with plants and let them keep it up if they're willing to do that. That'd be a project that somebody might like to do, is come down there and do that and keep it up. And then when you drive up toward the courthouse, you've got something pleasant to see as you come up the hill.
Well, that's a good suggestion. And in addition to that, we talked about this even earlier. We probably should tell the owner of that car lot property there if they have anyone interested in their piece, and it would help to couple those two together to have a larger piece to do a project that keep us informed.
Either them or I think there's a
Yeah,
bottle gas company
it's
behind, or welding service.
It's a welding gas
They may
farm right next to us, yeah. Okay, we'll do that.
Next on the agenda, we have the Animal Fire and Rescue Department lease agreement. The mayor's got some new information on that.
Okay, you've already approved a new lease agreement with the Amberville Community Club for that building there. These are that's one of the buildings that we got back, including Leanna and Amberville, and with respect from the school board for us to go ahead and get these leases put in place. The community club has informed me, I've had a couple of meetings with them, and their membership is really declined. It's down to 15 or so, I think. And they don't really feel like they're in a position to be responsible for that much of a building and the attendant maintenance and the insurance and so forth that goes with it. So they came in here, and Mr. Sanford from the Amberville Fire Department came with them. The community club wants to give over the lease, wants the fire department to take the lease over, and the fire department wants to do that. And so what we need to do is take this back through. We've already taken these leases all the way through, and you've already approved them, but we need to take a modified lease agreement back through the commission to allow the primary lessor to be the lessee, to be the Amberville Fire and Rescue Department Incorporated. Now, in one additional, the only real change to what you've already approved will be the last paragraph, and the last paragraph will say that the lessee expressly agrees that it shall provide and allow the Amberville Community Club Incorporated the right to use the meeting room area of the building to hold its regular meetings and from time to time other events as requested and approved in advance. So they have agreed to let them use that building as they so want to and when they need to, with proper scheduling. So the fire department will be the primary lessee, and then the club will continue to have access to it as they need to. So both of those entities are in full agreement on this, and this is really what we need to do.
What's the fire department going to do with it?
But they already have 2 or 3 bays there that they've got some of their ancillary equipment in. And they'll just take the leadership and responsibility for the other part of the building
So
as well.
in essence, they'll expand?
Well, I don't know. There's not any more room to put any more vehicles in there, but they'll use it for community purposes. They'll let the community still meet there, just like they do over at their other building as well.
They made bays out on one side, and the other side was like the
It's a big room. It's a big sort of little auditorium meeting room.
And
They were all still sharing the restroom area and sort of a little central piece there anyway.
And there's a consideration of $10, and it's a 10-year lease.
10-year lease. It's the same lease terms that we had on previously, that one in Leanna.
6 month out for all parties. Building and equipment will be in good repair at the end of the lease.
How old is that building?
Well, listen, when I was just a kid, it had been there a number of years. So, I mean, that building is 60, 70, 80 years old at a minimum.
Chairman, I moved we approve the modified lease agreement.
Second.
Got a motion and a second to approve the modified lease. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? And next on the agenda, we have Tiger Hill Communication Tower. Mr. Mayor?
Okay, this is a matter of information, and hopefully you'll have to take some action on this soon. But in any event, Mr. Farley is aware that we've had this Communications Advisory Committee working. We have some independent, experienced people that are helping us over the last several months try to develop a master plan, you might say, with respect to our infrastructure on communications. I mean towers and the communication devices you put on the towers, where we can improve the coverage for all of our first responders to have access both coming in and going as far as communications. Okay, that's the introduction, and we've identified the primary hub location for this master plan that they're just about finished with is Tiger Hill. And at Tiger Hill, that's sort of in the center out here. It's on 231. It's the middle portion of our county. There's a piece of property that the Forestry Division owns. The state of Tennessee owns it. And it has a tower that communicates with the THP, and also has an old tower that was for a fire lookout tower, you might say. It's been there. It hasn't been used in a good number of years now. So they have about 1.1 acres. Where this fire tower is sitting is probably about 3/10 of an acre. And what we're asking the state of Tennessee to do is to give us a long-term lease on that 3/10 of an acre, whereby we would then take down the fire tower and put up another tower, which would be our primary central hub tower for our communication needs for the county. And the forestry division is pretty much agreed with that. They're taking that request to the state building commission to see if we can get approval for them to give us a long-term lease on that, and we would have access to that property and put up the main tower that we need to start this process of building blocks to put this infrastructure in place that would be really do what we must do for our county communications. So I just want to tell you about that. You can approve now if and when the State Building Commission approves this. They're going to meet the first week or so in December, sometime early. So I just wanted to tell you that that's happening, and it's really critical that we try to get this done. And so I think we've had discussions with, there's 5 people on that building commission, and I know we've talked to 4 of them, and I think we're going to get it done. But it's really important.
Would that solve all the blackout problems throughout the county?
Well, that's the beginning point. We've got to have 4 other towers. We already have one at Lynch Hill. There's a site at Milton, the east part of our county, that CUD has a water tower there, and they've told us we can put another tower there. So with that tower, with the Middle Tennessee Electric Tower out of Smyrna, and in Williamson County, we think, we're not sure about this yet, they're trying to buy or get access, control of an old AT&T tower that's almost in our county, but it's in the very edge of Williamson County. With that, and then they have consented, they said we can share that tower, we can put our stuff there. So if we get all 5 of those towers up, then it won't be 100%, but it'll be so close that it'll really be good.
How much does the tower cost?
Well, let me tell you this. Well, the towers are not so much, it's the stuff you put on them is more than the tower. We have enough money in our Homeland Security grant to put the first tower up. We don't have enough money to put the stuff on it. All of this together will be in the neighborhood of $2 million plus over a period of time. So I'm hopeful if we can get this started, if our development tax money hadn't just dried up, I was hopeful that over a period of maybe 4 or 5 years, $500,000 a year, we could get this built out and finished, and it would last for years and forever. We must do it eventually, because there are places that just our responders out there just can't communicate, and we need to try to correct that.
I wasn't aware of that. So there's areas in the county where there is no coverage for what sheriff and
And volunteer fire departments or whatever.
Yeah, fire, police, EMS, even Paul's. I mean, they communicate off the same, and it's really it's a life safety issue when it comes to first responders. Because I mean, if police officers out there by themselves needing backup, if volunteer firefighters out there in a fire and they can't get out to the whoever's in charge of that scene, a paramedic could be out somewhere and not be able to communicate back. It's really bad, because we've had I know of some deputies that's been fighting a person that's wanted to fight them when they went on a call, cannot get out back to their dispatch, and they would need backup. That's happened. I know that for a fact.
It's not happening, routinely every day, all day, of course. But
it has happened.
In other words, we, instead of 85% coverage, we want to get it to 98 plus.
Yeah, I certainly agree with that. I'm
So,
just shocked that there was
It's
black spots.
it's spotty, and of course some of it even might from time to time is even weather related. But they've got software that can map all this, so they strategically have placed these, found the right places to put these towers, and with the proper equipment on them, we can make it happen. It's going to take us a little bit of time, but it's something we really need to continue on this journey.
Well, may I ask a question?
Yes, sir.
On the main railroad line going through town and all, is there any place along that line in this county that you can't communicate in case we had a wreck and dangerous materials were loose?
On the railroad.
Yeah.
Railroad, right off the top of my head, I can't think of any. I know there's some, Milton, Lancaster, Eagleville, and the Rockville area, out towards, in Kittrell, there's some dead areas, towards Bridalville.
Fosterville won't. They have a fire hall right there on the tracks and very limited coverage right
Yeah,
there.
It's,
That's the main line. On the Chattanooga.
yeah. And that's one of the reasons that, as the mayor spoke up, Public Safety Committee, asked for, well, actually, we started a committee and then, the mayor helped, we got some more people, and that have some expertise in this matter, and, we formed that committee to help out on this situation. You know, and there's not that many instances, but it's that one that could, you know, be bad.
One more if I may.
Sure.
On the Tiger Hill deal, is that possible maybe to get that done by the middle of summer?
We're hopeful if they approve this in December, we'll have to do an environmental study then. I don't know how long that'll take, but we're in a position, we do have the money to put that tower up. So as soon as we can finish that environmental study, and it could be up by the middle of summer, then that would push us probably. You know how slow these environmental studies go. But as soon as we can get them to approve that, then we can really start moving, and that it's important. That's the main one.
This has been an ongoing process. It just takes a long time to get everybody lined up and all the information together so we do it right. And several people working hard on it.
And they're doing this, these are professional people and doing it at no cost for us, so they're really helping us. They have a vested interest in Rutherford County.
Did I understand you to say that we could possibly pre-approve this
Well,
agreement?
yeah, I mean, you could go ahead and endorse the concept of what I've just put out here on the table, and if and when the State Building Commission grants us approval for a lease, you could authorize us to take that lease document through the commission and authorize execution of it. And when that happens, you can get ahead of yourself there if you want to. We don't have the document yet. You may want to wait until you can see the document.
Well, I was just saying, is it a good assumption that there's not going to be a cost involved?
Yeah, there's not going to be any real cost. I mean, I think it'll be $1 a year or something, I hope. I'd be willing to pay something. It's so important. If we had to pay a few dollars a year, we should do it. So without that tower, the rest of this plan is shaky. We need to get looking for another site.
Well, I know personally between 840 and Las Casas, there's some dead spots on Jefferson Pike there.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, I don't want to put the cart before the horse either, but seeing as how funding is in place to build a tower through government Homeland Security grant, and committees have studied this for a long time, and this is a plan that they're recommending, I'd move that we approve the mayor's and public safety's committee's plan pending approval by the state.
And that's sending it on, when it's done, just send it on to the full commission instead of having to come back through this committee.
Yeah. This committee's endorsing, we'll take it through public safety and let them push it on the commission.
That's where it really belongs. So.
Yeah, right. That's where it started. So we put it there and they'll take it on you, but you've consented to us to do that with that piece of property.
Right. Any further discussion?
Do you want that part in your motion to, with the matter going to public safety and onto the commission when it comes back? Okay.
Does anyone want the motion read back or? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, under any other business, Commissioner Farley had asked to speak to the committees. Asked him to come up tonight. Welcome.
Thank you. Appreciate y'all letting me speak. Back at our last public safety meeting, I know Commissioner Hall is on public safety with me. I brought the issue up, wanted to get permission to come to this committee. I have had some citizens in the county to come to me and asking about a fallen firefighter memorial for firefighters that are in Rutherford County. Over the past few years, there's only been 3 that I know of that have died in actual line of duty. There were 2 of them for Murfreesboro, 1 of them for Allenville. And I'm not sure if Smyrna and Laverne has had any or any of the other volunteer fire departments. But there's 3 that I do know that have, and we would have to, do some studying and find out to make sure that was all there is. And I'm pretty sure that's the number. But outside here, I think on the northwest side, there's an actual FOP fallen police officer memorial that's on the square now. What I'm asking is to get permission from Rutherford County to place a monument that would put the names of the fallen firefighters' names on there, and we'll be adding any later on, but it would be no cost to the county.
So that would include all firefighters, volunteer
Volunteer,
everything,
paid.
cities, Smyrna, Murfreesboro,
Yes,
everybody.
Whether they're paid, volunteer, they work for a city, county, whatever. Here, any firefighter that's inside Rutherford County, whether a volunteer or paid, it would be benefit their families because they, as a fallen firefighter, it's. There's national monuments, there's state monuments and stuff for these, but I think we need to honor our fallen firefighters inside Rutherford County for making the ultimate sacrifice. It's home with me. I'm a paid firefighter myself, and I see the danger, and I know Commissioner Hall as well as he does the both sides of it on the police and fire side, but. I'm going to do a lot of leg work, and I know Commissioner Hall has volunteered to help out on the north end of the county. I've got some other people that have willing to help try to raise money. I'm going to be asking local businesses and other businesses outside of Rutherford County and I'm going to even ask the volunteer firefighter departments and whatever to help raise this money. And the monument could cost anywhere between $500 and $7,500. So it'll be something nice. It's not going to be anything big and gawky. It's going to be something that's going to be nice. And hopefully I can get somebody to each time, hopefully it never happens again, but maybe donate the time to put the name on there later on, so that it will be no cost to anyone. So.
The proposal is to put it here somewhere in the court square.
Yes.
And would it be consistent with the police one?
That's kind of the thought process, to be as consistent to the police side as we possibly can.
Do you have y'all gotten to the point where you've done like an artist rendering of it or anything like that?
No, I'm in the process. One of the ladies that works at my office is kind of working with me on this as well, and she's been in contact with Roselawn Cemetery. They were instrumental in helping do the police one up here. So that's kind of the process we're going through right now.
The one that's out there now is about the size of the watering thing that we have. It's not even that tall for the police officers.
Right.
And it's on a 2x3 triangular shaped area off to the corner. What we probably do is maybe try to have that payment extended and put them together. Maybe lengthen a little bit and be able to lay. I'd like to envision some kind of little statue or something of each in between them and designate the 2 off to the side.
And I know each year the police departments and the sheriff department across the county, they have a Memorial Day, fallen police officer Memorial Day, and they lay a wreath. And I'm thinking something like that I think Congress is passing a firefighter Memorial Day as well, and also too, every September 11th. I know a lot of departments have something, and you know, and maybe have something like that on the square, and invite those families that have, you know, have lost a loved one from the police and the fire side.
Yeah, conceptually, it sounds great to me. I would like to kind of maybe see what it's gonna look like, make sure, you know, it's.
Right now, I mean, before we would put anything out there, we would bring it back and kind of show y'all.
Okay.
Basically, what I'm asking tonight is just permission to go ahead and kind of start working on this, knowing that we've actually got the possibility of the land being there to put the monument there.
Mr. Chairman, I move that we approve the concept and that the commissioner be allowed to pursue the project.
We have a motion and a second to approve the concept for Commissioner Farley to proceed on.
And the final approval, I guess, for actual design would come at a later date.
I'd bring it back to property management.
And for design to come back to property management.
Would the art department of MTSU could help you on that?
I wouldn't do that if I was you.
Who's got the design concept of some of the other things that's around the square?
Best
Is that
well,
the Historical Society? Or
I really don't know, to be honest with you.
something like that. The only concern that I would have would that it would not that the monument's not, the thought is not appropriate, but I would want the actual physical monument itself to be appropriate.
Oh, yes.
For where it is, and I'm just comfortable with certain things like the Historical Society or someone like that being involved in the design and making sure that it fits in the way that it needs to.
I'm not sure. Do you remember what they did when the FOP done, how that process went?
It's just a black marble. It's square, and at the top it's basically, it's not even 45. It's about a 33, and they put the FOP, the Lodge 54, and everything in the top. The names go on all four sides of that, and again, it's no more than a 2x2 area, and it's
Like 4.5 feet tall.
yeah, exactly. It's 3 to 4 feet
I
tall.
mean,
It's nothing. It's insignificant. It's something small. It's in the right place because that's where we have our flagpole and our flag coming up in that corner. And again, they pied off a section of the concrete and then provided that spot, and you could actually just double the area of what it's got right now and be able to stick both of them side by side in a fitting area.
And I envision like a Maltese cross, which is an emblem for a firefighter or fire department. You know, something, you know, on the fire side, and then there may be I'm just envisioning a small person like in their turnout gear and, you know, something like that. I mean, nothing, you know, nothing that's it's going to be appropriate for the square and appropriate for the fire service and public safety. But it'd be for Smyrna, Laverne, Murfreesboro, any Rutherford County volunteer, if Rutherford County ever hired any firefighters, it'd be for them too. So I mean,
What you have out there now is a circle, and then off to the, I'll call it top right, or towards the courthouse, you have another circle with the monument for the police officers. And it really, there's nothing wrong with the way it looks, but I'm saying it could be balanced. Actually put just another circle on the other side to match, because all it is concrete and inlaid brick. But that may not be what you had in mind, but it'd be easy to balance what's there with another monument.
yeah. Right now, what I got in mind is just get permission to move forward,
Get it done.
and then, you know, try to get some ideas together and with not just me, other people and stuff, and make something nice for the people.
And keep in mind not to kind of you can never overdo for one, but you know what I'm
Right.
saying, balance them out because of what you already have there now. You
Right.
wouldn't want to put something extravagant, you know, to kind of downplay that one.
Right, because they're both just as important as
Yeah,
other.
they should complement each other.
Right,
Right.
And not detract from the historical significance of the
Yes.
right.
Can we add that to the motion that the final design would be approved by the committee?
I'll add it to it.
It was already in here.
Oh,
Well, to be honest with you, if it wasn't, it would still come back, I'd have done that.
Any other discussion? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Farley. Any other business?
Mr. Chairman, may I ask, inquire the mayor about the adult activity center and the parking lot at the adult activity center?
Well, John, just to be frank about it, we're sort of bogged down in the bureaucracy of the city approval process.
Really? What way?
We thought they were just gonna walk that through, but they have sent us a letter that's outlined in some detail a number of steps we must take. So,
Do you, off the top of your head, do you know
Well-
what some of them might be?
well, even to include landscaping, we thought we should do, and a site plan, et cetera. We gotta be more, it's gotta be more professionally finished, the document we give them before we're gonna get permission to do it. I should get a copy of that letter and share that with you.
Is there anything in that letter that's gonna prohibit us from moving forward?
Oh, not prohibit us, it just delays.
Planning department help with that? Could they?
I think Ben was talking to some of our, I know the engineers over there are trying to help us expedite this. We were just sort of taken back because we thought that they had said they were gonna handle this for us and we could sort of move on, but we're gonna have to do the same as everyone else would do. And I'll get you a copy of that and I'll see where Ben is with that again.
Okay.
But he's been somewhat disappointed, to say the least.
Yeah. Okay. That'd be great if you could get that to me.
And there was one other thing too, that the sign, the name of the building was John Mackin Building. The sign is in disrepair. Could we,
You've already
addressed
I've
that?
already asked that to be done. I don't guess it's been done, but yes, I have requested that.
Okay, thank you. Any other business? Well, we have two people in our audience tonight. One has already spoken. Would you like to stand and give us your name and tell us why you're here? Appreciate the interest.
I'm Jordan Watson from MTCS, and I'm here for Youth Leadership Rutherford, just to sit in on the meeting.
Welcome.
Appreciate you being here. Well, being there's no other business, we'll stand adjourned.